This is 99% Craps.
Hard 10, hard 10. Here's the number.
I'll take the full odds on the 10, 200 on the hard way. The limit on all the numbers, 250 on the 11. Thank you very much.
Say, you played this game before.
Just once.
Welcome to the Red Eye Gamblers podcast. High above the second largest city, west of the Mississippi. Two chronic craps players, talking craps, playing craps, thinking craps. This is 99% Craps.
Coming up on our 18th episode of 99% Craps, we're on our way back from playing craps for 3 days in Southern Louisiana. We review our 7-Eleven trip to the tables, discuss regulars, rollers, and dealers, plus talk about low limits, pie gow, and solo trips. But first, we start with the weather. Wednesday, September 4th, 2019, episode 18. The Red Eye Gamblers present 99% Craps. And thanks for joining us. We are on another one of our casino trips. However, this time we are recording on the way back versus on the way to.
Weather alert. Tropical storm warning around current location.
Well, and as you can hear, there's a tropical storm in our area. It's going to be hitting probably late tonight or early tomorrow.
In the next 12 hours.
It's a pretty slow-moving storm. Oh, well, so we had to, we canceled our New Orleans trip because of this big old storm that's coming in. And New Orleans did get hit with a ton of rain. I mean, it definitely flooded. We saw pictures from Canal Street. And
7-Eleven was not a good day for them.
Not in New Orleans, but out here in Lake Charles, the weather's actually been gorgeous. It was, it's been
the
real
storm
nice.
has decided to move, to the center of
Louisiana.
And
we're
on the East Coast.
And we're on the clean
West Coast.
We will be on the clean side when the storm does hit, which always helps.
Well, Lake Charles is on the west side of Louisiana. It's only, really 20 minutes from the Texas border.
Yeah, it's very close to the border. But yeah, we were going to go to New Orleans and, go visit all of our favorite places and spend some time in Harrah's. But since we weren't able to do that and,
and everybody started canceling stuff. The Fillmore canceled. I mean, all these businesses shut down for the whole weekend, so there wouldn't have been a reason to go.
Well, we would have been stuck inside of Harrah's, which
is good and bad.
Which wouldn't have necessarily been bad, but we wouldn't have been able to enjoy New Orleans, and that was
the whole point of going.
The whole point in going, because if we just want to go casino, we believe that Golden Nugget and LAUBERGE and Isle Capri and Lake Charles offers. What are the odds in Harrah's in New Orleans? They're not times 20, are they?
They're either 10 or 20.
I think they're 10. I do think they're 10 also, now that I'm saying that. But, when we prefer just to go gamble, we like Lake Charles because it's just a 2-hour drive.
Well, sure.
From your front door to Golden Nugget's right at 2 hours. So, but this time was going to be more of a vacation / gambling trip, and that was why we were talking about going to New Orleans.
Yeah. No, just Hurricane Barry got in our way. So anyway, we hope everybody in New Orleans is okay and stays okay. And as soon as we can, we will try to take another trip out there.
But yeah, so we instead booked a couple of nights at the good old Golden Nugget.
Yeah, and actually spent our craps holiday in the lovely city of Lake Charles, Louisiana, and actually gambled quite a bit. Yeah,
we didn't adhere to the
no more this 30 minutes or anything. No, we were multiple sessions for
multiple hours.
2 to 3 hours.
I guess. To be honest with you, we kept almost everything to around 2 hours and no more than 3 hours. Just because you get tired, and at some point I think it's just good just to pull your chips back and cash out and go get something to eat or go get a drink or just walk around for a little bit. I mean, you can't.
No,
it's a mentally tiring game.
Well, it depends on how you want to play it, but yeah, that's what we do. Well, and it was for a Wednesday and a Thursday in Lake Charles, but the storm was coming, so I mean, we couldn't tell. it was not that busy.
It was not busy at all.
Yeah, they actually only had one table working. Did they have crapless? They had them both working last night.
Yeah, they did have crapless, yeah.
But during the day, they only had just the $15 regular table. It took them until about 11 or 12 to open up the crapless.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely slower than normal. But again, it's due to the weather, I'm sure. I mean,
absolutely. It's summertime. I mean,
yeah, it should be packed. But yeah, I think there's mandatory evacuations and shit going on. So
yeah, there definitely is. And you know, me being a native Houstonian, hurricanes are a dime a dozen. But you still got to be smart about things and be prepared. And we're kind of weather
resilient.
Yeah, well,
we're
storm chasers. I mean,
we've done this before.
I say we're storm chasers, but we know how to get.
Runners.
Right, we're storm runners. We know how to get out in front of the storm and head home before it gets here. Because this is not the first time we've come to Lake Charles with bad weather imminent.
Well, and then I had a trip to Biloxi when Harvey was coming, and I was ahead of Harvey going back to Houston.
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah, that was my big trip I took to go visit my family, and I went I-10 to Biloxi then to South Carolina for the eclipse.
That's right.
And then made it back and made it to Biloxi again, and actually stopped in Biloxi to get water and supplies because I knew by the time I got back to Houston, the grocery stores would be empty, and sure enough, they were. But yeah, I was actually in Lake Charles the night before Harvey hit Houston, and I left in the morning to get back home. Well, just in time.
I will say, if we could schedule some kind of big catastrophe before we go each time, I like the fact that the casino wasn't packed.
I know, it's the perfect time. I know, it was great. Our spots were available. It was not very crowded.
We pretty much, when we went to a casino, we didn't wait more than 15 minutes, and we were able to get on a table.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, they didn't have multiple tables open like they usually do.
No.
It was either one or two tables open, but the casinos really were much slower. They definitely were slow.
Yeah, no, which worked out into our favor. Well, I say into our favor, it was still a friggin' roller coaster.
No, it was definitely a roller coaster ride, up and down, down and up, left and right.
I mean, we got in last night.
No, Wednesday night.
Wednesday. Oh, shoot, I'm not forgetting. So Wednesday night, and then.
And we actually didn't play.
Yeah, we didn't play craps.
Any craps? We actually wasted too much time on Pai Gow.
And we've talked about that before, where when we go on gambling trips, on craps trips. Well, why am I saying like we do anything other than play craps when we gamble?
Yeah, we played Pai Gow this time.
Well, now we did, but anyway, the times we like to play are morning and the afternoon up to about happy hour. Once you start getting past 7 o'clock, then tables get a little too busier, and then there's a different crowd of people that come in.
Well, we talked about the crowd earlier, about how, we like Lake Charles because it's kind of a smaller community, and we feel like
we got a lot of locals.
We got a lot of locals, and we feel like when we're there, on a Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday morning, and it could be Isle Capri or it could be Golden Nugget. There's locals and regulars that go to these places all the time.
And I guess we should call them regulars versus locals. We have no idea where they live.
Right.
But we see them at the casino.
But we see them
regular.
We see them on a frequent basis. Yes. And I feel like I like playing with those people better than when it's just all people, touristy people that don't play on a regular basis. I'd rather play with the guys and ladies who
know the names of the dealers.
Right.
The dealers know them, and they already know their bets, so that the game moves fast.
The game moves. Actually, that's a really good point. That's probably well, what I was saying is I really I prefer to play with the people that are
regular to the table. That are regular to the craps table.
Because you're right. They'll know the dealers and most people. Well, and even we have a certain style, we have a lot of different plays, but our raises are usually similar, and everybody has different raises. I mean, we do a few raises. The dealer at LAUBERGE today, when you did you had a $18 6 and 8, and then one of the numbers hit and it pays 21, and you threw $3 out there and you raised both the 6 and 8 to 30, and that dealer, I could see him doing the math in his head while he was stacking the chips and then putting your chips out there. Yeah. And some of our raises are, not things that are typically seen at casinos. And just as that's kind of our style, the regulars that go in there, they have their own style too. And you're right. When the regulars are playing and the dealers know them, the game does keep going. And we both agree that when the dice can keep moving, and I think that's one of the things that helped you on your roll today. This last roll that you had that was monster. There was not a lot of proposition bets. There were some hard way bets, and they were getting replaced here and there, but it wasn't crazy in the middle of the table like sometimes it can get, and that really bogs the table down and slows it down and keeps those dice from in the middle instead of going to you. And I think that was one of the really positive things about your roll was the dice kept moving for you.
Yeah. Well, no, it's definitely when you know the dealer and the dealer knows you, then you're not going to miss things. Things are going to go pretty quickly, and it just makes for a much smoother game. Now, one of the things I noticed too is I think one of the reasons I like Capri was a little bit better in their customer service of players. So when the dealers, switch out.
Right.
When they have the shift change, they usually cycle through. They always come back as the stick person, and then sometimes they'll go around to one side of the base, the first base or third base. So to the left or the right of the dealer or of the stick man, and so they'll either go one side, and then when they get tapped out to the next time, they just go to the next dealer spot, and so they actually work all three spots at the same table. At Isle of Capri, they only work 2 spots. So
I thought it was most places only work 2 spots.
No, so LAUBERGE, you go from first base to third base before you go on your break.
Oh, I don't know.
So you work all 3 spots, and I think it's just different casinos do it differently. But I did notice that I liked it better at Isle of Capri because you always had the same dealer. You didn't have 3 dealers; you just had 2 dealers.
Right. I'll have to pay attention to that because I don't know that I've ever noticed that. I always feel like
because there's 4 dealers, and so you basically have pairs that work on either side. And so what that does then is you don't have to, when the dealer goes on break, they're not having to explain the bets to everybody or how everybody's betting because you're seeing the same people versus seeing the whole table. You're seeing half of the customers, so you're able to give them better service, in my opinion.
No, I would definitely agree with that. I definitely think dealers. Well, they get used to what you're betting, but
good dealers.
That's the other thing. I'll have to keep an eye on that.
There's people, there's dealers that aren't good. They don't pay attention. They're just there to make a paycheck, and they're doing the minimum. But those are the people that we don't like, and those are the places we don't like playing. And we'll get off the table as soon as something like that. If we're not feeling right, then we don't play.
I will say though that I have had many, many more bad experiences with dealers on other games. Usually, in this, I could be completely off, but I think that your craps dealers are your more talented team people. Because, how hard is it to deal 21? But
sure.
There's 2 payouts. There's a payout for 21, and then there's regular flat payout. So, where craps, there's all kinds of payouts. And so I think that your best dealers are your craps dealers, and most are usually very, very nice. I've had a lot worse experiences playing 21 or other games and having those dealers be bad. Yeah.
No, it's been so long since I've played other games. Other than Pai-Gow. We've been playing Pai-Gow recently.
Well, okay, a couple turns ago when we played Pai-Gow at LAUBERGE, there was a particular gentleman dealer. That one guy, he would get up and leave because he didn't want to play with that guy.
That's true, yeah. We didn't like him.
He was not good.
But we weren't. Actually, on that game, we didn't get up from the game. We just kept playing it because we decided we'd barrel through it.
Well, we weren't playing as big of money as that guy was. But yeah, that's
right. You're right. That one guy did get up and leave when he came. He said, "Oh, you're back? Okay, I'm out of here."
Yeah, he didn't like that guy. And that guy was not good. He was dour-faced.
Well, he didn't have a sense of humor. Yeah, no, it was. He
wasn't even polite. Like, if you're not going to be funny and personable, at least be polite.
Yeah, Debbie Downer.
Yeah, he was.
Big time.
But I've played, and obviously in the last 5 or 6 years, craps has been our primary game, but, previously when I had gambled before, I played with some other dealers, and I'll say the card dealers, maybe they're putting up with more. I don't know, and maybe it's because it's only one on 6 people.
I always think that the other table games, it's all about speed. It's how fast can you throw a hand together? How fast can you get the next guy,
Sure.
get the next ante, the next bet? It's always about how fast. And granted, at the craps table, there's a little bit of speed, that needs to happen too. But it's not like, blackjack where you're getting 5 hands in 1 minute. And then so there's no conversation. There's just cards. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
but okay, and that's fine while the actual game is going on. But if the dealer is, if the dealer is shuffling the cards, if the dealer is having the machine shuffle the cards, that's the time that the dealer should talk to the table.
No, the last time I played blackjack was with a really, really hot girl or a hot dealer, and that's the whole enticement thing, right?
Right.
that's why you're going to go sit down at the table. And yeah, she was doing 5 hands a minute, and I couldn't hang out. Then there was no socializing because all she was doing was just doing cards. It was horrible. So for our trip, we went basically just to Lake Charles, Isle of Capri, and LAUBERGE. And those are pretty much the 3 casinos in Lake Charles to hit. We do have Coshada, but Coshada's, a good 20-25 minutes further away north. And really the only thing you're going for, craps-wise, is a 14, possibly even, I think it's a 16-foot table. And then they've got it's a $5 table.
Well, and the other thing was, this was the first time in a very long time that we saw a $5 table.
Well, yeah. Isle of Capri had a $5 table this morning, so that was kind of nice.
Yeah, we hadn't played on Coshada would be the only other place, and
yeah, you're never gonna find a $5 table at the Golden Nugget. When it's a $10 table, you're lucky, and that we found that today and yesterday as well.
Yeah, actually Thursday and Friday morning.
Yeah,
Golden
and even
Nugget
LAUBERGE
was
$10 too.
and that was nice.
Yeah. But you know what happens, and it's what happened at Isle of Capri this morning at $5. Once the table got busy, then they raised it to $10. So I mean, it started at 5, and then it went to 10 by lunchtime.
I like the casinos that grandfather you in.
Sure.
When they change it up,
but I mean, they're hoping that you eventually leave
or stay at the higher,
or work your way up to it. But
Yeah.
then again, if you've been at the table long enough, you should be probably betting more than the minimum anyway. But who knows?
I mean, to be honest with you, how many $5 bets did we place? Not many.
So there's a different strategy for a $5 table.
Well, you can play numbers that you don't normally play because it's only $5.
Well, you say that, but then it's still $20 here and $15 there.
Yeah, but if the table minimum is 15 and you try to cover 2 numbers, that's 30.
Yeah. No, it's an incredible. Any low limit table is great for regression play, because we can have a $30 6 and 8 hit at once and then go down to 17 inside. You can cover everything with that. Yeah. Well,
Everything
and
for
that's
5.
what you should do. But and then build up with house money. That's a great thing.
Well,
as long as they hit the 6 and 8.
We actually saw some of the some rolls today and yesterday. Actually, really, that you could have done that and done really well.
Yeah. No, we
saw some good rolling.
There was a lot of good action for the last couple of days. This was a good craps trip, a good casino trip. There were some monster rollers.
There were some good rolls.
It was mostly positive. Well,
yeah.
We tried playing Don't.
Give yourself to the dark side.
Well, we tried to pick our spots, but to be honest with you, I literally only played Don't.
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
3 or 4 times, and I would try to pick a spot, and I would play a couple of Don'ts, maybe a Don't and then a DC, and it didn't work, and then I would stop, and then you watch, and I'm watching, and I'm like, well, the table's been positive. I don't know why I thought it was going to go negative. It was just because maybe I didn't like this guy that was about to shoot.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it was a very positive trip as far as the way tables were going. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was definitely not a don't trip.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
And the few don'ts that I had that got picked off, and you can't chase. But that's the only way to make up from a loss is to double up. And so we weren't doing it. And you had to play positive. And then sure enough, you just had to be cautious with your play. But, it worked. Well, and the other thing is, the bonuses hit. We were on some of them, and then there were several that hit.
Well, there was one guy that had a monster roll, actually before your monster roll, and he hit
he hit
full
the full
ATS.
And then he did it again, but it was just missing the 12 and the 2 again.
Yeah, thanks for finishing my story and ruining it. But yeah.
Right there.
And this guy had he was a rhythm roller, and he had a
nice toss.
Yeah,
he was stacking the dice one on top of each other, and then he was flipping his wrist, and it was interesting. I couldn't tell if it was under control or not, but it was definitely a rhythm roll, a seasoned roller.
Well, and I'd like to
exactly the same thing.
I'd like to say he held the dice for 40 minutes, but to be honest with you, I lost track of time.
Yeah,
he held them for a while.
It was at least 45 minutes.
It was a while.
I don't know how many points.
Hurricane warning in about 30 miles.
Oh, now our tropical storm has been updated to a hurricane, but that's 30 miles away.
Well, that's a good thing we're going home.
Yeah, you going 70? Let's make it 100 miles
60,
away.
There's traffic, actually.
Yeah.
Well, so we were talking about how when we first got to Lake Charles on Wednesday night, basically we treated it like all of our overnight trips. We don't really play craps when we get there.
Well, we were hungry when we first got there too, so we wanted to get some dinner.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, we have stopped playing craps pretty much when it's dark.
Well, we will break that. It's a rule driving or flying into a place, but usually if Thursday, if we wanted to play that night, we probably would have.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because we drove in Wednesday.
Well, but here's the other reason why we don't play in the evening. We don't like the clientele that plays in the evening.
Well, that is also true, yeah. It's going to be a random touristy.
Well, the tables are more crowded, and you get less regulars, more tourists. So we got in Wednesday evening and had dinner.
We did.
And walked around and noticed that there was just the crapless and the regular craps table working. They were both $15 at the Golden Nugget. And the AC was working. The last time we were there, it wasn't working.
Yeah, that was a miserable trip, too.
Yeah, so AC's back up and running, so that was good. And, so we just basically chilled out for a while, waited for dinner, had dinner, and then after dinner, tables were still crowded. That was the other thing. The tables in the evening were definitely packed.
Yes.
They had easily 12 people at each table, if not more.
I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, so 6 on each side, plus.
1 or 2 sticking their hands in there.
Yeah, and then there was people behind them too. So there was definitely a crowd of people waiting for people to leave.
It's a social game.
It is. No, it's fun. So anyway, so it was crowded there, so we couldn't find any room in the inn. So we went to Pai Gow and played, sat down and drank and push and drank and push and drank and push.
I believe in giving credit where credit is due.
We need to give credit to Tim Lawson and Eric Rosenthal from the Better Life podcast. The Better Life is a solid gambling podcast with great interviews, a variety of topics, and enjoyable banter. Mr. Lawson's fondness for Pai Gow and drinking struck a chord with us. We've been playing more and more Pai Gow in between our crap sessions, and it's been a fun way for us to give our feet a break, our minds a rest, and enjoy a few free cocktails. The quote, drink and push is genius. We love it. And it's the Better Life's quote. They also have it on a t-shirt they sell on their website. While supplies last. Much respect, gentlemen.
Yeah, Pi Guy is one of those games you can sit there and kind of nurse. I made a few mistakes on my placement of cards.
Yeah, it took me 2 hands to get back into it. I haven't played it in a little while, so that's the other good thing that I like about Pi Guy is if you don't remember something, you can ask and they will help you.
and another important aspect of that game is how comfortable were those chairs around that table.
The chairs are so comfortable. That's the real thing that's going on here is we've been dealing with a fatigue problem with us playing craps, being on our feet. I mean, we used to, when we go to Vegas, we're playing nonstop. We can play for 12 to 16 hours in one day.
Yeah,
we're trying to break things up.
Yeah, but it's not just standing at the table, it's walking from casino property to casino property.
But it's not being in a chair, which is the whole point of playing Pi Guy, is Pi Guy has a chair, and it's unbelievably comfortable.
At least the ones at Golden Nugget were. And
they also have a rail for your feet on the front of the table, and they also had a waitress that was regular. So
actually, she was attentive.
Yeah, so that was nice. But, so we ended up playing, Pi Guy until 4 in the morning?
Yeah, we played for, about 4 hours.
We played for $150 too long.
Yeah. we both left a little money at the table, but we played
for drinking all night, and that's that. But and the craps table had stayed busy the entire time, too. So, because I had my eyes on it. But no, that table actually is really nice because there's also a TV right behind the dealer, and so you can watch sports, watch the news. Yeah, it's a comfortable place to relax, and not have to spend a lot of money playing. If you're pushing 30% of your bets, and it's a slow game. It's a nice way to break up your craps sessions with sitting down versus going to the bar and playing video poker. You can do that too, or you can go sit down in someplace that doesn't have anything to gamble on.
I was going to say we could have gone back up to our room and watched ESPN with all the trades that have been happening.
But anyway, so that was Thursday night into Wednesday night into Thursday morning, which Thursday was July 11th, our podcast anniversary. So we were definitely had to gamble on 7-Eleven. How can you not?
Yeah,
that's the. I mean, I don't know how to make it an official craps holiday, but it should be.
Well, maybe we should get our senators to make this an official day.
You can't get them to do anything.
I wonder what July 11th actually is the official day of.
Some Hallmark card, I'm sure.
Well, because now every day has a meaning of something, right?
Well, it better be craps then. It better be craps. Well, it's definitely the unofficial then. But yeah, so then that meant we got up.
It's actually National Kitten Day, National Pina Colada Day, or National Cheer Up the Lonely Day.
What?
Just reading what it says here.
Well, then how can we make it National Craps Day? I mean, it shouldn't be like a hard argument to make. I mean, who do we got to send that into?
I could not even begin to tell you.
Do we have to send it into Hallmark?
No, I think there's this is much more important than Hallmark.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely played our fair share of craps on July 11th, 7-Eleven.
No, so we got up, since we were up till 4 playing Pi Guy.
Yeah, we wanted to wake up early, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, so I think we finally made it down there by 10, 11?
I was there for.
Oh, that's right. You were down there.
I was down there about 10:30, and then you came up about an hour, 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
And by that point, I had already had one monster roll out of position. I rolled 43 rolls. Did not hit the ATS. Or no, did I hit half of it and I wasn't on it? Okay. Or I didn't hit it, one or the other. I don't even remember.
I think you said you hit it, but you weren't on it because you were out of position.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I made money. I definitely made 43 rolls. You better make some money.
How many points?
Oh, I made a killer. I made a ton of points. I made like 6 points.
Did you have at least 100?
No, I did. I was out of position, so I didn't bet that heavy. I think I started with 50 though. So yeah, no, I made good money on the points, and I was killing numbers, and
yeah, and this was verified by the dealer that we went later on, or it was the next day, or no,
it was later that day.
It was later that day. The dealer did comment on his. The dealer did comment on how well you rolled, so. It was definitely verified, and I think a couple of customers even came by and said hey to you.
And then at one point, after my roll, I eventually was able. Oh well, and actually, the funny thing about why I was even in that spot was because there was a gentleman, an older gentleman, that was in my spot, which is left stick 1, and he had a chair, and he had probably $3,000 in front of him. And so I was standing behind him watching him play. Well, eventually, he was getting ready to, he cashed in, he was getting ready to leave. And so I started, and I'm literally 3 to 4 feet behind this guy, the older gentleman, and he leaves, and I'm like trying to pull the chair out of the way, and this older gentleman, not as old as the gentleman that was leaving, but older than me, takes my spot. And I'm like, excuse me, sir, I was waiting on this spot. Here's my card's in my hand. Yeah. I was moving the chair out of the way.
Right.
You could play right here next to me in position 2. So I wasn't going to get my spot. And at that point, I didn't want to stand next to the guy because
he's an ass.
He'd already pissed me off. And so I was like, I'm not going to do that. And then a position next to the dealer on the hook side opened up. So I went back over there. And that's why I ended up, and then I was, it was a $10 table, so I was like, well, I can play the inside and put, a small bet, and roll from here, and ended up going 43 rolls. Yeah, and then so when the older gentleman did leave, and I was going to go finally get my spot, I moved my chips over there, and this other guy comes from around the table, and he goes, oh man, I was going to offer you some aspirin if you were leaving, because I really wanted you to stay. And I was like, yeah, this is my spot, I'll roll much better. Yeah, I did not roll much better from my spot at all.
Yeah, that's the problem.
My best roll.
Your spot sucked this week.
Yeah, my best roll was from out of position. Which is,
Yeah, you were back to PSOs.
Makes you always feel good when you put in the hours, years to, practice something.
We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
And you go to do it, and you do it better out of position than you do it in position. Story of my life.
Well, that's you from there and me from the dome.
Yeah.
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
Well, so that was yesterday morning, and then
you came down after I had that big roll.
Yeah.
And
I don't think I did so well.
Yeah, I about broke it.
Yeah, I think we went down for a little bit.
I think we were. I think we left. I left down just a couple hundred.
Yeah, the problem is we usually bet. We lose a bet on ourselves and we lose a bet on the other one, and so therefore we lose 2 big bets. And by losing 2 big bets, that's somewhere between $100 and $300.
Yeah.
And you do that twice. And that kills the spirit, and then all of a sudden you're playing from behind. And you don't really I say I don't like playing from behind, but that's not completely true. I truly enjoy making a comeback.
Well, I
mean, that's usually, how many times is that usually how you end up playing craps? Where you really only win on 1 or 2 guys, and you usually lose on everybody else, and so you're always trying to catch up.
Yeah, you just got to be able to maintain until you get to those guys.
Yeah, it's like you got to stay at as close to the top of the water as possible. Like just having a few bets out there so that if the table does go on a streak, then you can still get something from it. Well, we were talking about this. It's been a while. I don't know that we've talked a lot about playing with house money and using house money. And I think it's been a long time. I don't know if we've talked about it or not. I can't remember. It's been so long. But, when we first started playing, we were talking about basically not raising until you get your money back.
Right.
And, having this kind of discipline to not have a lot of money at risk. That was one of the things we were focused on is how much money do you have exposed to this 7? It's called 7 exposure. And so we always wanted to keep that number as low as possible. And so by doing that, and then there was another one where we would try to do 2 bets or 3 bets, but then you'd take 2 of them before you'd raise, so then all the money out there would be house money.
Right.
And then you start raising with house money versus putting your own money into it. And so there's a lot more, I think there was a lot more playing that way on these positive tables for this trip. I mean, that's what I saw, is going back to basics of, taking a cut. When I didn't know the shooter and I didn't know what was going on, I didn't raise.
Right.
And I took my, my $15, 5 and 9 and took the $21.
Well, and I think that sometimes it could be, well, for me, if his first roll, after he establishes a point, if his first roll is one of my box numbers, maybe that's a full press.
Well, yeah, everything.
But if he establishes a number and then rolls an 11 and a 4, and then he finally hits a 5 or something, on the 4th or 5th roll, by that point I might just want to try to put some more money on my rack. But if he rolls one of those numbers in the first roll,
no, if he's rolling numbers, if he's rolling 6s and 8s or 5s and 9s, then yeah, and does it at the very beginning. There were several rollers, and it's what kills us when we're on the dome.
Give yourself to the dark side.
There were several rollers that were back-to-backs.
Yeah.
They were doing back-to-backs, winners. Hard 8, hard 8, hard 6, hard 6, hard 10, hard 10.
Yeah, I say I didn't see that very often, but today we actually did see it.
No, I saw it a lot.
Yeah.
Well, which the guy that was winning at the table, he was come betting. And that's a come better's dream, back-to-backs.
Oh, right.
And so that's sure enough, he was...
I'm sorry, for a second my thoughts went completely in a different direction, but yeah, that guy was making a mint.
No, yeah, he was, and so the thing that the guy at the table, it was a $15 table, so he had a $15 comp, but then he was max odds, and so he had $300.
He was building it up to max odds. He wasn't starting it.
Yeah, okay.
300.
But anyway, yeah, he was hitting quite a few max odds.
Well, and today we saw somebody hit the ATS when somebody had 25, 25, 25 on it.
Yeah.
That paid in orange chips.
Yeah, 4,000 something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to do the math, I just want to receive the money.
Yeah.
But then it's a matter of having a $75 pass line bet.
Well, for us, I don't think he was doing that.
No. Yeah.
But we had played with that guy.
Well, what guy?
The guy that won all that 8, that had the 25, 25, 25. He played with us, I want to say it was... I saw him earlier in the day. And I don't know if it was Golden Nugget or LAUBERGE again, but he was playing like that the first time I saw him, and he went through a couple of $1,000s and then he left. So, I mean, this guy, is playing big and crazy. But I guess when you do that, you win big and crazy.
Can.
Yeah. I saw one guy throwing $30, $50, $100 hopping guesses.
Yeah.
And he did hit one, and that the one he hit paid the ATS at the same time. So, I mean, that was a really nice payday for that guy. But, I mean, he was throwing, $50 hopping sixes and $50 hopping. It wasn't even just the horn. It was hard 10. He did that a few times. So I don't know how. I guess you hit one of those and it pays $1,500. You can afford to do that a few times, but
yeah, well,
I only saw him hit it once.
Well, he's hoping to hit it more than once, but at least he hit it once.
Yeah, on trips like this, sometimes I feel like the games start blurring into each other when we spend that much time on the table.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we should probably
take notes after each session.
Yeah, we need to. I think on a trip like on this Golden Nugget trip, yeah, maybe we need to try to record in the room or out by the pool or something.
Well, we know out by the pool is not going to work. We know we've tried in the room before. That has a better shot at working, but I don't know if that'll work. And we could just take simple notes on pen and paper.
Well,
or in your L-Phono.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see what happens.
Because we played so much this trip because we haven't, recently a lot of our trips have just been Sunday trips, and this trip we were there for extended time, and we actually played at different casinos, but they're all starting to blend together for me.
Yeah. Well, it is the same game and the same looking dice.
And my memory is worse and worse as the days go by.
What's funny is if we don't take notes, then I can't tell you were all the dice red? I think.
Shit, I couldn't even tell you. I believe so.
I mean, you look at them the whole time.
I
right?
was staring at them.
Yeah.
I believe they were all red. But I wasn't paying attention to.
I used to try to memorize the numbers. I used to try to memorize the set number that we'd play with. The number's always on the 6, on the face of the 6, a 3-digit or a 2-digit number.
I thought it was usually 4 digits.
I'm sorry, 3-digit or 4-digit number.
Yeah.
And then there's usually a secret mark on the bottom of the 1 or the 5. But anyway, or the 3. So anyway, so we did Golden Nugget the morning, Thursday morning. Then after that, did we go straight over to Isle of Capri?
I believe so.
I believe so too. And Isle of Capri, they only had one table working, and it was a $5 table. And so that was, or no, it was a $10 table yesterday. It was a $5 table today. I don't think it was $5. Was it $5?
I don't think it was $5 yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But we also didn't go as early?
No, we went in the evening or afternoon.
Yeah, it was closer to happy hour.
Yeah. So it was a $10 table. Yeah, because that was what it was. It was $10 a Golden Nugget, and it was $10 at Isle of Capri. And then Isle of Capri went up to $15, and then we decided to leave.
Yeah, because we were like, if we're going to play 15, we might as well play a Golden Nugget.
Golden Nugget, yeah. So Isle of Capri yesterday didn't have the crew that I liked, but the crew was decent. And the table was
well, it was a different crew because it was a different time.
It was warm to choppy. It was not a don't table.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Because the few don'ts that I did play, I lost. And the money that I made was on place bets and first point odds.
Right.
Did we play or hit any bonuses? I don't know that we hit any bonuses this time.
No, actually, you're right. I did not hit any bonuses whatsoever.
Yeah, this is one of those first times that usually happen. Usually that doesn't happen to us. But I mean, again, my problem is, 2s and 12s. There was 3 or 4 times where that's all I had left to hit. I think the 11 one time.
I had one where all I needed was an 8 for the tall. Couldn't hit an 8.
Yeah, that's happened to me before. Yeah, it's funny how, if it's only just one number left and it's something you hit all the time, it doesn't matter. It's the last number, you can't hit it. But no, Isla Capri, we noticed that it was actually a very new table, brand new felt. The rails looked really new. It was the newer table. They used to be playing at the table in the back, and that used to be very weathered. The rail was right. It had spots worn in it. And, the felt obviously had wear showing. So this was brand new. Actually had a little bit of a new car smell. I could kind of still smell the felt was kind of new. So that was good. So the table had a nice bounce to it, and it is a 14-foot table. And I thought I rolled fairly well yesterday.
Actually, you rolled good at LAUBERGE and Isla Capri, and you did not roll good at Golden Nugget.
Yeah, I didn't have a good trip at Golden Nugget at all this time. But yeah, threw very well. But then again, I don't think I made a lot of money. I did. I made the $500 that I borrowed from you. I gave that back to you. So I did well because I came out of my hole. Yeah, the whole time this trip was, I do well. Oh shit. I do well, and then I think what it was is I'd lose the bets on me, and I'd lose the bets on you, and then I'd be in my hole again.
Yeah.
And I'd bet maybe on one other person who I thought would do something, and they didn't do it. And then, now you're less than 50% of your bankroll, and you're like, I don't want to stop. I don't want to chase, but I don't want to stop.
And so then the grind begins.
And then it's, okay, well, I'm at a $10 table. I guess I'll do a $2 8 or a $12 8. Okay, well, hit that 8, and that 8, I press it to 30. Okay, hit the 30, hit the 8 again. Now I've got 35. Take all the money down and then go to, 32 inside. And then hopefully catch the wave of somebody hitting numbers. And sometimes it was working and sometimes it wasn't. But that was how I got out of my, that was how I grinded out of my holes, was going back down to raising from table minimums, playing with and raising with house money.
Right.
Yeah. Not so much regression as, starting at the minimum and working your way up. A lot of people will just not raise, which is fine too, but this, when you're trying to make money, it's easier, it's better when you're using house money.
Well, it takes off a little bit of pressure, because you're not going to lose.
A lot of pressure. Yeah. Well, yeah, when you know that you don't have any money at risk anymore, and that you've got a little bit of a profit, whether it's $5 or $25, but that
But now I still have I have a chance of making money on this money that isn't my money.
Well,
it's my money, but it's.
Well, and for us talking regression, we're always saying turn things off. Well, now with house money, if you lose it, it's okay.
Well, I mean,
in this play.
I still think,
and so therefore you leave it going at the minimum.
I still think it's okay to turn it off, but
that's for a different play.
Yeah, and I just think that this particular trip we ran into some hot shooters, because it doesn't usually go like this.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. This is the play in the playbook for this style of play. We used it, and it worked. So I was good yesterday for me. Did you played a little bit, or you didn't play well? Well, you played.
Yeah, I played. I did all right.
Yeah. So, no, I did well. Well enough to pay you back.
Oh, actually, well, no. That time I didn't play then.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, because, yeah, no, I did not play.
Oh, then that makes it even worse.
Well, no, we might have finally figured something out, yeah.
Yeah, we might as well just jump into it now. So, yeah, I think we figured out something with our play.
We're overthinking things again, and
very much so.
And this is what you've come up with.
Well, you brought it up, so it's I think something we both. So he mentioned that he on the morning of 7-Eleven he went and gambled by himself and had a 43 roll and made a ton of money when I wasn't there. And then when we went to Isla Capri and I had a decent roll and had a good time, he wasn't playing. And then it happened today again where I had 2 monster plays, one at LAUBERGE and one at Isla Capri, and you weren't playing on either one of them, or you weren't at the table playing at all.
Correct.
And so, was there one more time when you played by yourself?
No.
So there's been, 4 recent times where the 2 of us didn't play at the same time. We both killed it. So we think we can't play at the same time with each other.
I was going to say, please don't say we can't play with each other.
Yeah.
Please don't say that.
No, so why don't you say it?
Okay. We're not going to play it. Yeah, no.
So we're not going to be able to roll dice at the table together anymore. We're going to have to go to places that have more than one table working. Because we've already played on different sides.
Right.
And that doesn't necessarily, I don't know, does that help at all?
No, I don't think so.
But if you're not playing, I seem to win, and when I'm not playing, you seem to win. That's very odd. And we don't know if it could be a little mental thing of, I know that you've got more money at risk, and so that makes me a little nervous, and I'm thinking about it too much, or, but when I'm by myself, I'm only thinking about myself.
Right, yeah. I don't know. I mean, we can blame this on whatever we want. We could.
I guess we need to add a session in our trips so we can have solo trips.
Actually, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's where, you stay at the Golden Nugget and I go over to LAUBERGE.
Yeah.
Something like that.
We might have to do that.
How else are you going to test out the theory? Every time I go on a trip by myself, I always tell you how good it is.
And when I'm by myself at home, I have a great time.
So yeah, that was something we figured out today that we're not too sure about. But very interesting to think about. So
the moral of this story is don't play craps with your friends?
At the same table at the same time, yes. So we went to LAUBERGE, and did you play at all at LAUBERGE?
I did not.
So you just watched me again, and so again I did well.
You did.
And that was another time where I borrowed money because I hadn't done well, and at the end of that I was able to pay you your money back and have a little bit of a profit.
You were able to give me a nice pretty colored chip.
Yeah, so again, this goes again with your theory of when we don't play with you, when we don't play on the same table together.
I think you just knew the Axeman was standing behind you and you couldn't lose my money.
There's that. But no, I was actually a little excited that I was able to make it up and down and
well,
back.
you made a huge rebound.
Yeah. No, I was.
That was a pretty big swing.
Well, what? Under 25% of my bankroll, and then borrowed another bankroll and paid it all back, and then walked out with
money on top.
With money on top.
Yeah.
So
no, that's.
It was a grind. It was a friggin' grind. But had a blast.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is about this game. No matter how much I hate it, I still love it.
Well, and it's.
And no matter how much I love it, I hate it.
Well.
It's like my ex-wife.
There you go.
And my current wife. And my future wife.
Yeah. No, so. Yeah, so then LAUBERGE went well for me again. I rolled well. Actually, I was rolling well at Isle of Capri and at LAUBERGE this week.
Well, we talked about we think you like the 14-foot tables.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think I like the 12-foot tables at Golden Nugget.
Yeah. Well, and I will say I do like being in stick one, and I'm not ever stick one at
Golden Nugget. 'Cause that's my spot.
But then,
maybe that's the deal. Is Golden Nugget is where I roll.
Yeah.
And LAUBERGE and
Isle of Capri is where I roll.
where you roll. And
that actually, I'd be cool with that.
Instead of not playing together, it's only
this
one
is where you shoot.
This is where I shoot. This is where you shoot.
Well,
now that we should try that too.
Actually, that makes a lot more sense because you actually shoot better.
Usually this weekend I did not. Or this last couple of days. Well, other than my 43, which was my very first roll. I had crap rolls after that.
Yep. You spent your load at the very first.
Just like my first wife, just like my last. Well, it was, like after a 43 roller, and.
Well, yeah. What do you expect's going to happen?
Well. I felt confident. I felt like, yeah, give me these dice again. Especially, let me go to my spot. Let me get the dice. Let me really, be comfortable. Let me do what I usually do, and then point established 7. Point established 7.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so
and then that's frustrating because you spend all this time practicing.
We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
And from your spot, and then you happen to be out of position and you decide, I'll throw the dice down there, no pressure, who cares, just be a random roller. And then you come up with a roll like that. And I will say, what I was doing with that roll was, I'm on the hook, so I'm throwing basically the length of the table now. I was setting them, but I was going through different sets. I didn't roll just the hard ways. I didn't roll it. I rolled the 3 set. I rolled the inverted 3 set. I rolled the 2 set. I was going through different sets, hoping to confuse the 7s.
Well, it seemed to work.
It worked on that roll.
I've done that before.
It didn't work.
We keep using different dice sets.
Yeah. Very frustrating though when you have a great opening roll and then you can't. Not that I intended to duplicate it. I mean, I know a 43 roller is.
That's
kind
your trip roll.
Could it be once? Yeah, exactly. One in a trip roll, but I was hoping for some 15 rolls and some 20 rolls. Some above
not under 5.
Some above average rolls. Yeah, instead of then 0.7.
Well, that's our problem when you do a 0.7 out. When you do a 0.7 out, then we're regression playing when you do that. And when we're regression playing, then that means we're usually got heavy bets on the first 5 rolls. And when you 0.7 out, then we're losing that money that the heavy betting that we've been talking about.
Who are you telling? Who are you telling?
And so that's the problem. And that's how we get in our holes.
Yeah, if we had
because
I had 44 inside, up and I rolled a 7, who cares?
Well,
it's when
and when you talk about your 43 roll, and the dealer talks about your 43 roll, and a couple other players talk about your 43 roll, and then you get back to the table and you're like, all right, I did a 43 roll. I did a 43 roll. All right.
And then
0.7 out. Load up on the bonus.
Yeah,
Load up on the
they were ready to go. They wanted me to do it again.
Yeah. I understand.
And I wanted to do it again too.
Yeah, no. So that's how I get into my holes. I take a stab on somebody's previous roll, and they don't do close to what they did, and so therefore you can't even break even. And again, that goes back to bankroll management. You can't make those plays if you don't have the bankroll to support it, because you've got to, manage those ups and downs. So we figured out our style of play, and I worked through it. I barreled through it. So anyway, so then I played at LAUBERGE. It went well, and then we went back over to Golden Nugget, and then we played one more time at Golden Nugget.
Yes.
And I think I lost all the money that I made.
Yes.
It was a $15 table. It was crowded again. You did okay, or you did not do okay?
I lost a little bit. I lost maybe another $100.
Yeah. And there wasn't a lot of people. Oh, that's right. Yeah, there weren't a lot of people at the table. There were. So we weren't in our spots. We were in our spots.
I don't remember rolling at all, so I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think we were in our spots. But
I'm telling you, man, I hate to say this, but this trip really did blend together for me.
Yeah.
All this table time, I'm having troubles remembering which
table was which roll.
Because usually, when we usually go to Golden Nugget, it's just 2 sessions. When we go on our Sunday trip, it's just 2 sessions, maybe 3 sessions. But this one was.
Well, yeah, 5, 6.
Yeah. On Thursday, and then 3 or 4 today. Yeah, it was. We spent a lot of table time today, which actually we hadn't done in a while. It was a lot of fun.
No, it's. Well, I guess the idea is to get a 2-hour session in at each casino.
Well, and hopefully we build up some of our comps, because we did play quite a bit.
Yeah, no, we played solid for a couple hours.
Yeah, I need to get back on Golden Nuggets Sunday mailers so I get all my free stuff.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get that all restarted. And that was all we really wanted to do, was play craps all day on 7-Eleven Day.
Well, mission accomplished,
right?
Sir. Mission accomplished.
Then went and had steak dinner, and then a couple of cigars.
I was gonna say
by the pool.
We enjoyed some very nice cigars last night.
Yeah, so it was. And then after dinner, the craps table was crowded. It was too crowded to play again, and
we were pretty tired by that
point.
Well,
we were dead tired, and we'd already played since 10 that morning. So, and then we knew we were going to play the following morning.
Right. Well, and actually we called it kind of early, because we called it at like 12:30ish.
Yeah. Well, because we said we wanted to make sure we got up at 8, to go start playing again, in the morning, and that worked out to be 9. So better than the day before.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were able to get in 2 hours at Golden Nugget, then checked out, and then went over to Isle of Capri, and then made it back over to LAUBERGE. So yeah, we had 3 more sessions today, and then 5 yesterday. So yeah, we had a full trip. And yeah, up and down and up and down and up and down. And no bonuses.
Actually, I was thinking about it after we said it the first time. I want to say I had a nickel on one that hit for 175 on Thursday at some point. I want to say I did, but I honestly can't be 100% sure, but I want to say I did.
You might have, but I'm pretty sure I didn't, because I kept expecting to in order to catch up.
It wasn't a lot of ATSs getting hit this. The last trip we went on that Sunday, there was a ton of them that got hit. This time it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a lot of inside numbers, though, that were getting pounded, though, which is good. There were quite a few times that the ATS needed that 2 or the 12, and it wasn't just you or I.
No.
It was other people that were getting it and just couldn't get that 2 or 12.
Yeah.
I mean, those are hard numbers to roll.
No, I know. And then I was telling you, I need to start practicing.
We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
A straight 6 or a cross 6 set, just because that's got to be the only way. If you're an on-axis thrower,
well, I'll tell you what. The way you were throwing earlier, if you had done that, you would have had a shot at hitting it because your dice were on.
Yeah. Today felt good. But I think that's what happens, when you don't play for a while, and then you get, I was thinking about all the, I was going through all the motions that we've practiced over time.
We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
Well, I think we both know that it's muscle memory, and it's we both have the same, we both have they're unique, but we both have our own setups to where, we do the same things when we get the dice, and we make sure our stance is the right way, and we, how is our body facing, and how is our legs, and I mean, we do that subconsciously. Now we've been doing it for so long.
Well, it's like I was focusing on, my posture. I was focusing on my breathing. I was focusing on my fingertips. I was thinking about all the mechanics, and then then you get to a point where you're not thinking about it, and you're just doing it, and that's, and then when the table can just stay calm,
Well, and I mentioned it when he was next to you, but during your big roll at LAUBERGE, there's a gentleman there that he's a regular,
more like a dice coach.
But and I mean he was next to me during my 43 roll at Golden Nugget, and he was just like, keep collecting, keep rolling, keep the dice moving, and I mean he was just and sometimes people like that annoy us, but he had a way with himself that it was.
Yeah, it wasn't he was calling you out as a shooter. It was he was calling you to keep doing well. He was cheering for you.
Yeah.
Without putting you on the spot.
Yeah. No, he was.
I think that's what when shooter hit a 12. All you got to do is hit a 12. Or
right.
Those guys that yell at you to like they can control you to do something.
Well, and I think he understood that the dice can't be controlled, but he just wanted you to stay in rhythm, and he wanted you to keep shooting. He wanted you to keep putting money in your rack. And, all the things that we talk about, he was saying, but it kept me going. I guess it helped me go. I mean, it didn't hurt me.
No, it does. It was a positive part of the table versus being a negative part of the table.
Right.
And that's.
But we've run into people that try to do something similar, and it just ends up annoying the hell out of you.
Well,
but he was doing it the right way. I guess my point to the story.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing was I was at LAUBERGE. Well, you said that he was next to you at Golden Nugget for your roll. He was on the other side of the stick for me when I was at LAUBERGE, and I was having a good roll. That was probably one of my 30-something rolls.
Yeah.
And did I hit a bonus at LAUBERGE? Maybe I might have. Now that I think about it, I might have hit half. But anyway.
No, I don't remember that either. If you did, you didn't get paid for it.
So what happened during one of my rolls when I was at LAUBERGE was I'd already been rolling for a while, so I'd probably already had a good 10 plus, maybe around 15 rolls going, and I had hit my last point, and it was come out roll, and threw a 7, and then reset the bonus. Everybody gets paid, and then threw another 7, and then reset the bonus. Everybody gets paid, and then another 7. I ended up having 4 7s in a row, And I asked to change out the dice, and the guy goes, I always ask shooters to do that, and they never do that. Thank you for changing out the dice. And I'm like, this dice they have too many 7s in them. I don't trust it. So yeah, so I said, I want new dice. And so I switched up my dice, and then I rolled for another 15, 20 minutes.
Well, and he also he was keep it going, keep it rolling, get them out now.
Yeah.
He was saying the right things. He was not annoying like most people are.
He was talking to the dealers too.
Yeah.
He wasn't talking to the shooter. He was talking to the dealers to get the dice out.
Yeah. No. He did that for me when I was rolling. Somebody was holding it up on something stupid. He was just like, "Yo, man, let's keep this game moving. You're costing us money." And I liked him, man. I hope we see him again.
Yeah. No, there were actually a few, craps players that we'd like to see a little more often. I mean, we didn't. There might have been an idiot or two that kind of snuck in around us, but we didn't see them very well.
Yeah, they didn't hang out very long.
Well, that was actually what it was. The idiots that were around, made like 5 bets and lost all their money. And so then they left. That was the cool thing. The idiots didn't stay. The idiots didn't get lucky and stay at the table.
Right.
Which is usually what happens. When idiots get lucky at the table, then all of a sudden they're an expert on that bet.
Well, I think the funniest thing I heard today was the big baller guy that was doing all the big come bets.
Yeah.
He said something about a hard way, and the little old man.
His buddy.
I don't know that. I think they just knew each other.
No,
they're
buddies. They're buddies. They hang out together.
But he had to have been probably in his 80s.
Low 80s.
Yeah, and he was a retired Air Force man, I believe, by his hat. And the big guy said something about a hard ways, and the little guy looks up and he goes, "I'm always hard." Like, this guy's in his 80s. How many Viagra are you having to take, buddy?
Yeah, no, that guy, the big guy he had, he had at least $3,000 just in hundreds in front of him, and he was basically max oddsing his bets when he knew what he was doing, and he was just a big bettor. Now,
well, it's easy to make it look like you know what you're doing when people go on a 30 roll.
Well, sure, but I mean, when you're buying in for $5,000, it's also pretty easy to stay there forever when you're making $50 bets.
Right.
But no, I liked him a lot. He had a good sense of humor. He knew everybody. He was a regular but he's probably a regular on the weekends versus us being regular during the
right, because like I said, this was Friday. When this was happening, this is our Friday happy
Friday
hour.
night, yeah. So, but what was cool was, there was a guy that had a monster, just a friggin' monster roll. I mean, we're talking probably, it was definitely more than 45 minutes. He almost hit the ATS twice. He hit it once, the full ATS, and then everybody got back on it again, and he was only needing the 2 and 12 again. And the big guy at the table, we were all betting, we were all having a good time because we were all making money. And, it was down to the shooter had to hit a 10, and the big guy was big betting, and so he had probably, $50 by now, or, he was throwing red chips out on the hard ways, and every time they'd miss, he'd keep doubling them up, and so he had, I don't know, maybe $50, $75 on hard 10, as well as, max odds on the odds for his pass line bet. And so he's yelling to the shooter, "All right, 5-5 shooter, 5-5, that's all we need, 5-5. Shooter rolls, 5-5. This guy with all these chips and a big ego, everybody's clapping for him, he's Nostradamus at the table, right? and everybody's making money, so everybody's really, really happy. So we're going on, rolling, and his, guy's still rolling, and then now it's been a while, and the point's 6. Well, he's the same thing. He's maxed out on the 6, and then he's got the hard 6 as well. And he's like, "All right, shooter, let's do this again. Let's do a 6-6 or 3-3. 33. Let's go. Sure enough, Shooter
Just
throws 3-3.
happened to be when he called for him.
When he pointed to the stands, they went out of the park. The 2 times that he did it, it was pretty freaky. And then he tried it one more time and it didn't work. So after that was done. But
hey, 2 out of 3 is still pretty good.
I would have stopped while I was ahead.
Right.
But
just 2 for 2 is better.
But yeah, no, he was pretty funny, and he made 2 calls that were like spot on at the moment, and had an audience that was paying attention. Because I mean, you've made those jokes before, but then nobody can hear you or pay attention to them. And,
oh, I just said yo. I said yo was gonna hit.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, but it's something to say yo's gonna hit and have $100 on it.
Oh no, yeah. Well, that's where we go with. Why are you turning your bets off? You might as well hop the 7 while you're doing it. I didn't hop the 7s at all this time.
I thought you did once.
Well, the one don't bet.
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
No, I want to say you did.
Oh, when I first showed up somewhere.
Somebody threw the dice off.
Somebody did something, and I lost that bet.
You didn't hit it, but it was a good educated move.
Situational craps. It was what I need. Which it was the play for the moment.
It wasn't a bad risk.
Well, all these gambling moves, we're just taking as much of it, as much edge away from it, so that we're getting it as close to a 50-50 coin toss as we can. It's still gambling.
That it is.
Disappointed we weren't able to get to New Orleans, but happy we had a full craps day on craps day.
Yeah, New Orleans would have been fun, but it would not have been fun these last few days.
If it was raining and flooding, no, it wouldn't have been good.
Well, now we're gonna have to check up to see how soon we can go back, because if they got flooded, they got to clean all that up.
Yeah, no, it's storm's not even through.
Right. This was pre-storm flooding.
Hurricane hasn't even. It hasn't. The eye hasn't hit. I don't even know if it has an eye. I think it's. Yeah, it's
a hurricane
Barry.
now.
Yeah, so it's got an eye. But anyway. Well, were there any bets that worked out, or were there any plays that worked out better than you thought they would this time? Or did something work that you had been thinking about? That you put into action?
No, I don't think I really played anything differently.
No?
No, everything was pretty standard.
Same to the way of the last time we played, or same to the way you usually play?
The last few times I had kept throwing out that term fluid because I wanted to be more of a fluid player, but this trip really was so positive that, like we've said already, we didn't really play the don't at all.
Give yourself to the dark side.
So, I didn't really do the do we don't, because I basically, if I was going to play the first point to establish my ATS, but also probably played the first point with people just because the table was fairly hot. I played the first point on a lot of people, and then possibly played the second point on some people, and then I didn't play any points after that. I would just play the boxes. But it was such a positive trip that I never really, those negative swings weren't big enough to jump on.
Yeah, no, it didn't. It didn't seem choppy. Well, the thing is somebody had a good roll, and then you were like, okay, this is it, I'm done, I don't need to hang out anymore. And we didn't have to waste our time with people that didn't roll well.
True.
There weren't.
I will say that's probably one of the good things that we managed.
The dice. The dice barely went around the table.
Yeah, there were times that they only went around once.
I would only shoot once or twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're there for 2 hours.
That's a good thing when the dice stay in one person's hands for a while.
Yeah, I remember when I was first gambling, or a long time ago when I was gambling, and someone was complaining about how they weren't able to shoot the dice enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second, you know, wouldn't you rather be at the table when the dice never come to you?
I would.
I mean, that's the way I would look at that. Is I'd want the table to go around the slowest possible. You know, that just means it longer rolls. I thought that was kind of funny.
Well, obviously that's somebody making a comment that doesn't understand what's going on.
No, of course not. Oh, I guess there was one idiot. The guy this morning next to me, when I was straight out, and he was betting, and he was never putting odds on his bets.
Which guy?
The guy from this morning, who I was talking to.
Oh, the kid. Well,
Yeah.
he wasn't an idiot. He just didn't know how to play.
Yeah, fair.
Idiots are the ones that do annoying things on purpose.
you're right. He wasn't an idiot. He just didn't know what he was doing.
He was a nice kid.
Yeah.
He just didn't know what he was doing.
Well, and he needs to study more and read more because But he was kind of. He was like, yeah, I don't read a lot, but I come and I talk to the old geezers and like that guy at the end of the bar. I'm like, oh well, thank God he didn't call me an old geezer, but he was talking to me. So
yeah, I think that was situational. I think that he should spend some time watching YouTube videos. But it's also like the guy when we were playing Pie Gal that sat down next to me is like, I don't know how to play this, and then he puts money down on the bet, and I'm like, well, if you don't know how to play this, why are you playing this? Even if you win, it's no fun because you don't know what you did to win, and if you lose, you're pissed because you don't know why you lost. So
how is that fun at all?
Yeah, so he stayed for 2 or 3 hands.
Well, we bought in for 1,000.
No. This was
another guy?
This was another guy. It was a Hispanic guy, and he ended up going to the table over. And I'm not sure if that was a poker table.
Yeah, I think it was 3-card poker.
He ended up playing over there. But it was just like you sit down and you tell the first thing you say is, I don't know how to play. And now this is a game that the dealer will tell you what to do.
But he didn't know that either.
But he didn't know that either because that's unusual, and you don't know that. But in that same spirit, why would you go up to a craps table and, even for $100, if you don't know what you're doing?
Why are you putting that money at risk?
I mean, why wouldn't you?
I don't know. People and their money.
I mean, I guess when we first sat down at the Pie Gal table, I didn't know what I was doing either, but it was...
I told you.
But you'd already told me, so I mean, I knew how to play. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I know yeah. So I mean, I was able to catch on in the first hand or two, and I still make a mistake here and there because sometimes you can set your cards different ways. But I mean, I would never sit down at a game I totally don't understand and be like, well, it looks like it's kind of like poker, or well, it looks like it's kind of I mean, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, what else from this trip? Anything? I mean, other than it being a heavy action roller coaster ride that actually I made out on top. For me being down below, technically losing all of my bankroll, and made a comeback to be positive and come back with my bankroll.
It's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, nice to know that my dice are alive and well. I need to practice.
We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
2s and 12s. But other than that, I felt real good about that. So I'm looking forward to already getting back out there. In which case, hopefully that'll be just next week or the week after. And that would be fun. It's too exciting for you, huh?
Well, I didn't get my nap time today.
No, you typically don't get naps when we gamble.
there's something seductive about the road that puts me to sleep.
Okay. Well, I guess if there's nothing else.
I can't think of anything. I'm sure as soon as you turn it off, we'll be like, oh yeah, we forgot to talk about this and this and this. But no, I mean, I think we touched upon everything. I mean, like I said, we've spent so much time on the tables, my time is blurring together, so it's hard to remember, but we definitely spent a lot of time on the craps table for 7-Eleven, which was our goal.
That was the goal. So, and we'll continue with the history. We will keep going on about New Orleans and share with you guys what we've been able to uncover and keep going from there. So, anyway, we want to thank y'all for listening, and we'll talk to you later.
Cheers.
Coming up on our next episode, we continue with our next casino road trip. Post-trip reports from the casinos of Lake Charles, Louisiana, the Isle of Capri, LAUBERGE du Lac, and the Golden Nugget. The Red Eye Gamblers, thank you for your time, and hope you got a little something out of this week's podcast.
Here's to rolling sevens on the come out, and may your sixes and eights always be hard. Cheers.